Alright, welcome back to another video. Today's going to be a little bit different from the videos that we normally do. I'm really tight for time today and I've been sort of getting a lot more fatigued. This last couple of weeks is I think it's from the drop sets that I've been doing on legs. So what we're going to do this week, because I'm tight for time and because I'm not feeling 100% and I want to try and claw back a little bit of that fatigue accumulation, is we're going to truncate this session a little bit. We're not going to go a little bit later. We're going to do a little bit less volume, essentially training for maintenance. So what we'll do is we'll start off, we'll warm up on the unilateral seated leg curl machine. Then we'll go on to unilateral leg extensions, then hit up some leg press the way we normally do. And I want to do the leg press for just the right leg. Again, just to try and bring that right leg up because it's lagging a little bit. And yeah, we'll see. That's kind of where I'm planning on leaving it. We'll see how much time I have left. I might add in more leg extensions or leg curls at the end, but it's not going to be a full balls to the wall session. It's going to be more just about maintenance. And saying that, we're not going to go light. We're going to challenge ourselves. Like I said, this is, as much as anything, it's about maintaining where we're at and making sure that we can kind of claw back a little bit of that fatigue accumulation for next week. Anyway, let's get to it. I'm beginning to think that part of the imbalance that I have in my legs is due to this, doing the single leg stuff in this particular machine. Specifically, these leg curls. I feel like I can get, because my right leg is kind of, when I'm doing my left leg, my right leg's bracing against the bottom of the machine down here. I'm just wondering, is that allowing me to produce more force with my left leg than I can with my right leg? Because when my right leg's up, obviously I'm not bracing anywhere with my left. Just wondering if there would be a way to. It wouldn't explain the total sort of mismatch in the size of the two legs, but it would certainly help to explain at least some of it. Don't know. I wonder, can I? No, I see. My leg would need to be down. Left leg would need to be down that side for that to get the same sort of effect. I don't know. Yeah, this was just an old cheap machine off of Amazon, so it wasn't, to be honest. It's not the greatest. Better than nothing, but it's not the greatest in the world, so it's not. Anyway. Could do an old trim of the beard. Could do an old trim up top as well. So I could. Hair's getting ridiculous. Woke up this morning and I couldn't, it was just boof, everywhere. So it was. Take me a good 10 minutes just to get the beard halfway decent. So it did. And even then, as you can tell. Right, next set. Oh. 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 So we're not going as because we're kind of tight for time today, and not just because we're tight for time, because we're taking today as well as being a bit of a mini session, as it were. We're not going as heavy. We're not going to go as heavy on any of the exercises of what we have been. But today, today's going to be more of a kind of like a maintenance slash mini sort of deload. It's not going to be a deload. It's not. Deloads are typically like half the weight for half the reps and so on. It's a huge decrease in volume. Today's going to be a smaller decrease in volume, given the fact that we'll not be doing the drop set on the leg press, but I'm not going to push the weight either. My reasoning behind all that is that over the last couple of weeks, where I have massively increased the volume on leg day and done the drop sets, my fatigue, I've felt the fatigue skyrocket. I think I've mentioned them both in a couple of videos now about how, I feel like I introduced the drop sets on legs a bit too fast and a bit too early in the mesocycle. So this is really nearly like trying to extend the mesocycle on, but give myself a bit of a break, try and recuperate a bit from that fatigue. And at the same time, like I said, today's a good day to do it because today we are tight for time. So I've only got about an hour here in the gym. So I have before I need to be thinking about moving on. So because I'm not trying to progress as such, it's more about maintenance this week and allowing some of that fatigue to dissipate to, extend the mesocycle on, specifically on leg day. The rest of the workouts I'm feeling okay on, but leg day and specifically leg day is starting to really sort of, it's starting to spill over. My leg day, after leg day, I have 2 days off, and I'm starting to now and then whenever I go back in, it's only chest. Chest day is only 3 exercises for anyone that hasn't seen my chest day videos. But it's even the fatigue accumulated on on leg day is starting to spill in to my chest day workout, which is 3 days later. And over the last 2 weeks now, I'm coming in to do legs, and my legs are still, I'm reluctant to say sore. It's not like delayed onset muscle soreness that I have a full week later, but I can feel my legs stiff. The muscle still feels stiff from the last leg day workout. And that is because of the I've been pushing just so hard the last few leg days. So today a bit later we'll go a bit later on all the exercises. We'll probably we'll see how much time we'll have come the end of the workout. The plan is at the minute to finish on single leg press after doing a set of double leg press, but we need to just see whereabouts we are time wise for all that. But we'll get the leg presses done. At a minimum it's going to be single leg curls, leg extensions, and then leg press, and then we'll see where we're at the end of leg press time wise. But that'll be enough to maintain for the next week. So that'll be enough to maintain for the next week. Anyway, right. Right, I'll do it for single leg or unilateral leg curls. And just to clarify, whenever I say I'm going a bit later on leg curls and on the exercise, I'm not going massively later. I'm 1.25 kilos later than what it was from a top set in previous weeks on this. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm doing half the weight or something. It's just 1 kilo or 2 later than what I have been doing. Oh. That's another thing about this particular leg extension machine. It's you can't, on the leg extension part, you can't really get a terribly good stretch at the bottom here. It really needs the seat needs to be further back. That's why I use the old squat wedges under my knees, and even then it's not brilliant. Like the seat could do with being tilted back more. And I think on another hole, if I had another hole, maybe have a go at putting one of these in myself sometime on this little disc here. If I had another hole about here, that would allow your feet, this foot pad to be right back in behind you nearly, and loaded, which would go a long way to help loading the stretch position. But you can't. I mean, this old thing was only it was £300 or something, or £400 on Amazon. It's an old cheap thing, like. So it is, and it does for. I mean, as you can see, I'm not training some sort of fancy commercial gym. We've got all the best Cybex and Nautilus gear and Prime gear and all that good stuff. It's a bit of a dungeon, this place. I actually got, somebody on TikTok commented on one of my videos. I forget what one it was now, but basically likening the gym, and I'm assuming the video as well, because I put these videos out in black and white, to Dorian Yates. And I have to, it's very astute of whoever it was made the comment. If I'm reading the comment right, it's very astute that they picked up the Dorian Yates vibe, because part of the reason that I put out my content in black and white is because of Dorian Yates' Blood and Guts DVD back in the day. I loved watching. I loved that DVD. It was brilliant. Didn't like all the shouting that went on. All that shouting's not my cup of tea. So it's not. I prefer training in stony silence. I listen to music, but I don't like people putting me off. If people are giving me encouragement and stuff, and I've had this in the past, people give me encouragement, and all of a sudden my brain's thinking of two different things. The person's shouting at me and trying to push the weight, and whenever that happens, I lose the main muscle connection, as it were, and I can't force my muscle to contract the way it needs to contract in order to move the weight. But yes, to get back to my point, it was very astute of whoever it was to pick that up. The other reason I put my content out in black and white for anyone that's interested, not that you are, is just because everything on YouTube tends to be in colour. There's very little content out in black and white, and I take a bit of care out. I don't just desaturate my black and white my videos. I actually try to grade them in colour first, and then convert them to black and white. I have a sort of a process for doing that. So I do nothing fancy, nothing fancy at all. But it gives it. I think it just makes it stand out a little bit more. So it does, in my mind anyway. Plus it's got that throwback to the Blood and Guts. Anyway, let's get on to the next set here. I'm starting to get a good burn. I always feel like I get a good burn from the unilateral leg stuff, but my legs in subsequent days, they never really get sore from it, unless I do the heavier stuff, which I'm probably not going to do today. But it's strange how I know other people it will be the other way about. If they get a good burn, they'll get sort of, their legs will be sore in subsequent days. Not sure. It may just be because I'm not taking these close enough to failure right enough. You'll see that if you haven't noticed, like I'm only doing 10 each leg, so I am, and I'm not going anywhere close to failure. That's literally because I take this as more of a warm-up. Pardon me, as a warm-up exercise for going into the leg press, and then usually it would be the heavy leg extension, heavy leg curl to finish off, and it's that really does the majority of the damage. So it is. But I always feel psychologically, I feel that if you're doing the unilateral stuff, especially now that I've identified that there's a difference in the size of my two legs, psychologically I get the sort of comfort, as it were, from the fact that you're working each leg on its own. So if there is an imbalance there, hopefully you'll bring it up. That's I think in the next few weeks, in the next maybe 6 months or so, if I can't at least see progress in bringing the two legs back to bringing my right leg up to the size of my left leg, what I might have to start thinking about doing is dropping out the bilateral stuff, so only doing unilateral work, to see will that force the lagging leg to come up. The only thing I can think of is that for whatever reason I put more force through my left leg. Now I have had issues on my right sacroiliac joint. I have had issues there where I get pain. My wife actually thinks it might be arthritis. Whether it is or not, I don't know. But that might explain why, if I've been doing bilateral stuff, it might explain why the right leg is smaller than the left, if I've been sort of subconsciously favouring that leg by putting more weight on the left leg. Anyway, next set. Right, we'll move on to leg press here. What time is it? Right, we'll move on to leg press and we'll rattle out some leg presses. So I apologise for the grunting and groaning there. Fucking hell. Yeah, I have to say, since I've started playing about with the foot placement on this on the leg press, I definitely feel stronger on it. Just by, well, in the past, my feet were kind of down here, but I was coming up. If you look carefully at any of my previous videos where I was doing leg pressing, like the last mesocycle, my feet were down here, about they were about there, but my heels at the bottom were coming off like this. And I was pushing through just my toes essentially. So I started putting my feet up a good bit higher, up about here, and out a bit wider. And I can definitely, my heels aren't coming off, they're still coming off a little bit, but they're only coming off by sort of maybe half a centimetre or so. And it definitely feels more, it feels more stable. So it does. Now I know it's not ideal for loading the quads up as much as, it's not as ideal for loading the quads up, you know, as much as having the heels further down. But, or sorry, the feet further down, because you can't get your knees over your toes obviously as much, but for whatever reason, well, I know the reason, my ankle mobility is not good. So it's not, my ankle mobility is not good at all. And that's at least part of it. So it is, that's at least part of it. I'm not sure if biomechanics comes into it or not either. Yeah, I don't really know enough about my limb length to, although I think I have short legs. I have short legs, a long torso, but I'm not sure about, I've never really measured from my hip to my knee, or from my knee to my ankle, to know, or the individual bones, oddly lengthed. Oh. I have to say, one of the good things about doing the leg curls and leg extensions before you get in to do a leg press, it really does sort of pre-exhaust it. Even though I'm not using a lot of weight on those, it really does kind of pre-exhaust the legs a good bit. So it does. Right. Let's try another set here. You know, that's an odd thing about this this leg press machine. Sometimes I feel like I'm not coming down terribly far, but then whenever, I don't know if you've heard it or not there, probably not, on one of the reps, I forget what rep it was, it came down to just a fraction more, like it felt like only like less than an inch more, and I hit the safety stop at the bottom. I'm not sure if that's a function of this machine, the safety's being set maybe a bit too high, or if I'm actually coming down and getting good depth. Although what I will say is, when I look back at the videos week on week, when I'm cutting these videos together, I think I'm always surprised by, you know, it does look like I'm coming down far enough. Although in saying that, I then see the likes of fucking Jared Feller and his fucking leg press, or what's the other guy, Eric Janicki. I apologise if I got his name wrong. And they do their leg press and their fucking knees are out by their fucking ears. I don't know how they get themselves into that shape. Don't know how they get themselves into that shape without weight on the sled, never mind with it. Incredible. It just shows you, whenever you see boyos like that doing it, it just goes to show you how much of a fucking amateur you actually are. No matter how good you think you're doing something, there's always somebody out there doing it 10 times better. I could go for a wee sleep here now. So I could. Hate training this early in the day too. So I do. I had to get up a bit earlier than normal today and come out a bit earlier than normal, I should say. Wasn't up any earlier, but I have to come out a good sort of hour and a half earlier than what I'm used to. So I did, because of other stuff on today, and I did have, normally I train fasted, so I do, but I have had 50 grams of oats with a scoop of whey and a handful of a banana, a handful of grapes, a couple of 100 ml of milk, just as a breakfast to try and give myself some energy, and then a load of caffeine, a load of coffee, just to try and perk myself up. But it's not the same as coming out, it's not the same as training at the time whenever your mind is, you know, your body has the time to wake up and your heart's got pumping a little bit just from being awake and doing stuff. Crazy. I remember years ago, I used to get up at 5 in the morning and train. This is like before I even had dogs or anything. I used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do a workout. I honestly don't know how I did that. I tried it again. God, it must be about 8 years ago now. I tried doing that again. And the first week of doing it, I injured myself, so I did it. I was like, nope, you're too old for this shit now. You're too old. It's amazing what you get away with when you're 20 and what you get away with when you're 40. Or it's only 20 years of difference, like, but you feel it all right. So you do. Oh. Right, get this last set done. Right, there's that done. So I'm actually pretty pleased with that. That was it was no drop set. Oh, it was no drop set from last week, but 200, I think that's 210. 200 anyway. Maybe it's 200 kilos. Hold on till I count it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 100, 200 kilos. It's 200 kilos. That's why it felt a bit easier. All right, I'm less happy with it now. I'm significantly less happy with it now. Yeah, I'm really disappointed that I'm really disappointed with the. I thought I had 210 kilos in that for the last exercise, just to straight up the by leg leg press. Now the 200 kilos is still good enough for me. Like it'll serve its purpose. So it'll serve its purpose all right. Just maintaining for a week. But I was just a bit disappointed. I had it in my head. Although the same thing happened last week. I had it in my head last week that I had 200 kilos on. I had 210 kilos on. This week I went the other way. The joys of getting old. Everything fucking degrades, even your fucking capacity for doing simple fucking basic arithmetic. So I think what we're going to do, I should really be calling this a day after this, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a few sets of leg extensions, the heavy leg extensions, but I'm going to back off by a good sort of 15 or 20 kilos. So I am just it'll still be heavy, but it'll be something more than I've done. I'm always very cognizant just on legs. I don't do a whole lot of sets usually for legs. I know that's a bit of a contradiction in terms because I'm reducing the amount of volume this week, but that's primarily because the drop set that I've been doing the last couple of weeks it's been like, if you think about each sort of rung down, I think there's only one of the drops in the drop sets where I'm not doing a full 10 reps. And I'm going from 215 kilos down to 90 kilos over the course of about, I think it's 5 drops. So that's like adding in, each one of those is like adding in a full extra set. Even the set that has only got the 7 reps on it. I mean, that's a good working set. 7 reps is a good weight for a good working set. Number of reps for a working set, especially whenever you're going to the point where you're only within a rep or two of failure. So I'm adding in that drop set's effectively adding in an absolute fuck ton of volume. So it is. But yes, I'm always cognizant of the fact that with legs, whenever I'm not doing those drop sets anyway, that I don't do a whole lot of like heavy work for legs, which is probably part of the reason why my legs are probably my least well developed body part, aside from the fact that my right one's quite significantly smaller than my left. That doesn't help. So it doesn't, not being able to squat doesn't help. So it doesn't, they should form the bread and butter of everybody's leg day. Unfortunately, my back now doesn't allow me to do it without risking significant days off because of injury. But anyway, right, let's head up another set here. Again, I'm kind of reluctant to go. I'm reluctant to go too heavy or too close to failure doing these unilateral leg presses because I don't think. I think if I was to fail, I should maybe try this out one day. Get somebody stand there and fucking hoist the weight off me. I'm very aware that whenever you're doing them, the foot plate here is actually, whenever I'm at the bottom, it's actually nearly touching my knee. And I'm not sure how much further down it has to go to hit the safety. So I'm reluctant to go too near failure in case I get to the point where I can't get it up, but I can't set it onto the safeties because the foot plate's resting on my knee or going to crush my leg. So I could probably just straighten my leg out and get it onto the safety. It's amazing how the wee small psychological things like that can have an absolutely huge impact. So they can, more so than I think anybody really gives them credit for. I actually think that that's a part of a component to failure. Whenever, now I've no evidence to back this up, other than my own experience, which isn't terribly, it's like the shittiest form of evidence. It's not really even evidence at all. But what I have noticed, particularly with the bench press and the dumbbell press, is that sometimes, and I kind of alluded to it earlier whenever I was talking about people distracting me by giving me encouragement whenever I've been lifting in the past. I think that there's two kinds of failure. There's failure where your muscles literally can't, you've taken everything out of them and they cannot move the weight anymore. But I think there's another kind of failure that can happen before that, nearly like a neuromuscular failure where your brain just says, no, we're not lifting that anymore. And the reason why I think that is because, and I've caught this on video, some of my past videos, I forget what ones they're in now, but I've caught this in the past where I've had that sort of brain fart, as it were. I call them brain farts. I've had that brain fart and put the weight down and then almost immediately pick it back up, and I'm able to knock out another 3 or 4 reps without taking even 30 seconds worth of a break. Just, set the weight down, reset myself, pick the weight up and go within 10 seconds. To me, that's more indicative of some sort of neuromuscular disconnect where the brain has just stopped connecting to the muscles that are required to move whatever weight you're moving. And by having just a short few seconds, you can reset that sort of internal circuitry. So you can. Be interesting. I'm not sure how you would test for that, but it would be interesting to see some sort of a controlled experiment done to see is there a thing there, or is it all in my head? Is it just a sweetie mice running about inside my head? Right, let's hit up the last set here. Oh, right. Let's head over to the leg press and we'll do at least one set. I'll try and get a few sets in. Need to be leaving in 1 hour. So I do, and we've a few bits and bobs around the house to do before we go. Oh, right. Ah. I've actually just realised I have an extra fucking job to do in the house before we go here. And I don't know why I'm looking at my watch. Here we go. Back. Come on. Yeah, it's alright. I should be able to get a few sets here done. That's one over, so we get at least another one. Oh, crap. How fucking... Oh, around oats and wear repeating on me something terrible here that day. I absolutely hate training with food in my belly. I really, really do. It makes me feel so bloated and gassy. So it does. I know a lot of people, it just goes to show you how individual everything can be. There's loads of people swear by, they wouldn't even think of going to the gym until they've had a couple of meals in them, at least a couple of meals in them. I'm a complete opposite. I need to keep my belly empty while I'm doing pretty much any kind of exercise. So I do. And then whenever I'm finished, eat all the food. Eat all of it now. I'm a fucking cookie monster. That may be part of the reason why I'm able to gain body fat so quickly, is I tend to binge. I can go long stretches without eating, but then whenever I do eat, I like to make sure I'm full. And then some. Oh. Right, let's head up another set here. Oh. Do you know, I'm just noticing something else. When I'm doing these heavy leg exercises, I'm going to have to try and maybe pay a bit of attention to this in weeks going forward. I'm just noticing when I'm doing these heavier leg extensions, my left leg definitely feels like it's burning more or getting more work than my right leg, which again, it only takes a little bit to get that up. Although I can't see why on a bilateral exercise, my left leg, like on the likes of this one, would be taking more strain than my left, unless again it's some sort of psychological thing because the weight is on this side. I'm, mentally putting more effort into contracting that muscle than that muscle. If that's the case, I have absolutely no idea how to fix that. So I don't, because other than doing just unilateral stuff, just because it's subconscious, I need to try and find a way to connect more with the right leg. Maybe what I need to do is get some sort of leg on this side and attach it to this side coming up, so that it's mind fuck myself into thinking that there's weight on that side. Right. Right, let's go for the last set here. Fuck. Yep, I'm gonna feel that in a couple of days' time. Right. Oh, good God. Right, I'm gonna get broke down here and set up for chest, which I think I might do chest tomorrow. I'm gonna see how I feel. This week's gonna be suboptimal, to say the least. I'm not gonna have a lot of time for each workout this week. I've got a lot on, but we're going to get in. I'm reluctant to take a deload week this week, which is normally what I would do, because I'm sort of planning on deloading toward the end of this month, just because we're going to have a bit of family time lined up. But what I think I might do with this week's workouts, because I am tight for time, I'm not gonna push to break records. I'm gonna basically train for maintenance, but at the same time with an idea of trying to, because like I said, the last week or so I've really felt the fatigue of those drop sets catching up with me. So I think I'm going to train for maintenance, but with an eye to maybe lowering the volume ever so slightly as well, to try and claw back a little bit of that fatigue accumulation, and then we can hit it hard and heavy again from next week for sort of 2 or 3 weeks before the actual sort of planned deload, as it were, and take it from there. Again, if I'm feeling particularly strong, things can change. We can change in the fly as and when we need to. It's not a big deal. So it's not, if I'm feeling strong, I'll just push through and go for it. If I'm feeling that time's tight and I'm still feeling fatigued, then we can pull it in. We'll play it by ear, listen to the body. Another thing that I can do is the likes of today, we take a deload, that's not a deload, but sort of do a bit less volume on legs, because legs have been what's accumulating a lot of volume lately. But maybe, say for example, on chest or on back or whatever, we're feeling that, I don't feel I need to deload here then, or I don't need to reduce the volume. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling strong, then we'll hammer on through, and we'll go for whatever we can take, whatever we can get. Yeah, anyway, so yes, this is going to be I'm not going to do an outro today the way I normally do, so that's going to be it for today's video. If you've enjoyed the video, feed the anabolic algorithm the comments, shares, likes and subscribes, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.